pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So John's on Zoom tonight, Kristen?
Yes.
Who else is on Zoom?
Just John so far. Yep.
Okay.
I will let you know
Right.
if and when that changes. And then otherwise we have Mark Fitzgerald, Frank Nelson, and Harley Cudney.
Okay.
And Mike Beecher, Rich Hewlett, Jessica Van Oort, and I'm Kristen Powers. And there are a handful of things that cropped up additions wise on the agenda, and they're all in red that you can see. So under the road foreman's report, we got an update on that Agency of Transportation Structures grant. There's new funding, so we can talk about that. Facilities report, to talk about the old store foundation. Older unfinished business, Jessica has a pedestrian scoping study letter of support for us to look at. New business, Frank Woodruff, who maintains the cemeteries, doing the mowing. He put in a request, so I thought we could talk about that under new business. And I flip-flopped the order by mistake, but after public comment, there's executive session, again, to discuss the confidential attorney-client communications. So I think that's all of the additions, and I don't think there are any deletions.
How about the minutes? Everything looked good in there to me.
Okay.
Yeah, looks fine to me.
Make a motion to accept the
Yeah, I
minutes?
move that we accept the minutes of last time.
I will second that.
Second. All in favor of accepting the minutes? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Yes, carried.
Oh, I forgot to add, Mark was an addition as well,
Okay.
for pre-requested.
Okay, so we're down to Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
I'm Mark Fitzgerald. I am the VASA Trails Coordinator for the West Rutland Sportsman Club. And very new at this, so this is my first go at getting land permission forms signed. And the one that Pawlet had, I guess these are 5-year permission forms. And so the one previously that I copied doesn't actually have the town of Pawlet on it, but I thought because this is probably a town highway, 4th-class town highway, that probably the town should sign a permission form so that the ATVs can get from, I believe it's Fred Stone's property up Herrick Brook Road to get to the Meadowy Lumber property. So in the past, the way I wrote this, Levering McCormick, I think, has property up there that this road accesses or goes.
McCormick?
Yes.
Yeah, that gets, Meadowy Lumber doesn't come all the way to Herrick Brook Road. You go across McCormick's property to get to Meadowy Lumber property.
Right. So I'm gonna talk with him to add him to get a permission form from him as well. But shouldn't the town of Pawlet have a permission form? I mean, is it a town highway from Fred Stone's?
It's, yeah,
It's Towsley Hill, I believe. Isn't that Towsley Hill?
Yeah, that's Towsley Hill.
yeah, Towsley Hill Road, and then.
Isn't it part of
connects.
Herrick Brook as
But
well?
I believe that how it was done, we didn't have a permission form, we signed it. What did we do? What's the proper word?
Was there just
An
a,
ordinance, maybe?
Maybe we
I think,
voted and approved for that to be the section of town road that the ATVs could ride on, and I don't really, I think it was an ordinance, but I'm not really sure.
I know the town of Ira has an ordinance that they follow, but we still haven't.
Does it specifically call out the roads that you're allowed to drive on in Ira, or?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. This one specifically, the way it was done in the past, it just says total trail mileage 1.5 miles. And it said trail open from May 1st until October 1st each year. Use of a roadway from Herrick Brook to Meadowy Lumber property. So I'm assuming that's a town highway? maybe?
Yeah, there's several little pieces that goes to Towsley Hill and then to Herrick Brook Road. Is there a little short cut off up in there too or something that goes up by Bonnie's Sugar House? Or, I'm not 100% sure, and that was quite a few years ago. It was probably 8 years ago when we had allowed that to happen. And quite honestly, I don't remember exactly the phrasing of what we did, but it was voted and approved. And I think that because it was voted and approved, it doesn't have to be resubmitted or anything like that.
And that's fine. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that it was okay and we didn't need permission. So is there a way maybe I could get a copy of that ordinance?
Yeah, we'd have to get it from the town clerk and.
Yeah, I remember the situation. Like, I remember that this topic had been brought to the board and there was discussion about ensuring that there was proper signage and a clarification of what the exact route was. And I feel like maybe there was a motion attached to it, but
I thought it was even before you came along. I was sure that Clarence was on the board still.
I mean, I've definitely been a part of a discussion. I don't know if it was just the discussion that I was a part of was just to clarify it. And I think people were maybe concerned because there was speedy travelers.
Right.
But
you guys are all limited to your speed and stuff like that, right? You have club rules that restrict you, and the speedy travelers are rogue four-wheelers that aren't part of the club, so they're really.
Generally, they don't allow anything over 20 miles an hour on any of the roads.
Right.
here's
So,
the copy of that
yeah,
form.
that's the one I copied. That's why it has Levering McCormick's name on the bottom. But if we're gonna do one, if the town needs one, I could make one with just the name of the town, but if it,
Maybe Bob will remember.
That's what I was hoping.
And also, I think Towsley Hill would have to be named, that's where all the parking takes place.
Right.
right?
You know, and then the four-wheelers head up Towsley Hill.
Yes.
I don't know if that's probably close to 3/4 of a mile or a mile before they hit Herrick Brook Road.
Okay.
Do you remember how the actual system that we used to allow the four-wheelers to cruise up Housley Hill Road to Herrick Brook Road to get on McCormick's? What did we do? Did we do an ordinance, or was there some other system that we used to?
I don't remember what we specified exactly from point A to point B, where they had permission to travel on the travel portion of the road, but there was speed limits and,
Right.
and I don't know how we.
And I don't remember what, the way, the system that we used. But it was something that we voted on and approved, and it wasn't something that needed to be renewed or anything, correct?
No, I thought it was indefinite and less.
We would have to
something went
revoke
wrong,
it. It was just
revoked.
open unless something occurred that we would need to revoke it.
There is,
Kristen?
I just went onto the website, and so this is about snowmobile traffic.
Well, it should be for ATVs.
Okay, so there is a snowmobile traffic ordinance. But that's not it. We're getting there. Okay, so there's another traffic ordinance, but
Shorty Stone would know right off the top of his head.
What's that?
Shorty Stone would know right off the top of his head. So I'm sure he was part of putting all that together. Mark, do you know Fred Stone?
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. I can
There's
talk with him.
ATVs on page 7 of the traffic ordinance.
okay, cool, I just got there. Oh, yeah, all right.
It lists Town Highway number 30 Harris Brook Road for 0.8 miles southerly from Town Highway number 28. And then Town Highway number 28, Towson Hill Road, 1.6 miles from Route 30 to Town Highway number 30.
Would you like me to print you a copy of that?
That would be great.
Yeah, that's a pretty good description.
Yeah.
Do you need just that page? Or do you want the whole deal?
Well, I wouldn't mind the whole, if
Okay.
it's an ordinance.
Yeah.
And you can email it if you'd rather.
I got it right queued up to print, so that will be easier.
So do you feel that there doesn't need to be a permission for?
Right, unless you do something that makes us want to revoke it, we
Right.
should be fine.
Right. Yeah, we're hoping not to do that.
Right, and so far, everything has been good. Like I say, the complaints of ATVs racing down the road, I think are just rogue ATV riders, nothing to do with your club.
Right, I've been involved with the group for about a year, and I've been to Shorty's just once. And it's a good group, they work hard, and they really do like it when people follow rules. And in Ira, when they don't follow the rules, we do have the sheriffs and let them know, the game wardens can go up in the woods and sit and catch certain people if you're not registered, if you don't have insurance, or if you don't have a VASA sticker. So, and they will ticket them and fine them. The problem you have is I think there's a no chase rule. So if they run, I don't think the game wardens chase them.
Shouldn't there be a $10,000 a year permit fee for that? Like,
I didn't use it for
Adoption in 2010.
I do that.
Thank you so much. So if that's the case, you can probably discard that document. And, I'll read through this. If I need anything further, I'll come back or get over to town clerk.
I think we're all in pretty good shape if that's all. It seems pretty well cut and dry, spelled out. That
Okay. And like I say, I'll get a hold of Levery McCormick, get one for his property and take care of that.
you want this back? Just,
Yeah, I've got 2 copies of
Okay.
it, so you can probably go in the shredder or something. Garbage.
so I guess
Thank you.
you're all set then. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any announcements? The zoning administrators report, please.
Just,
Hello? Yeah. Okay. Did you cancel it or? Okay. So they may call you, or they may call the office and you may need to tell them to call you. And Janet will tell you. Okay. Yeah, she'll call you. I'm not home. Okay?
what's this?
Answer her.
That's your bill for making copies.
I didn't,
Yes, you did. I found them in our copier after a planning commission meeting.
okay,
I tried to make copies for the planning commission,
so
and nothing came out of it, huh?
zoning report from Jonas
this was
is that
part of a discussion we were
one
gonna
permit
have.
is pending.
Planning
No, it
commission.
wasn't.
Frank?
It was.
One permit is pending. There's a tear down and it would be replaced with a mobile home or a modular, not sure yet. Only 12 permits approved over the past 5 months. Looking to reschedule the Wesco appeal of the zoning administrator's decision regarding permit 2008-01.
All right. Planning commission?
We met last Monday. I didn't submit a written report because our meeting was our West Pawlet walkthrough, which a couple of us present were at. Michael Allen, who is working with us on the municipal planning grant, walked through, as did as did the planning commission and the rest of that grant committee. So we just looked at buildings and talked about the history of West Pawlet and looked at the current use of the properties. So, there's not a lot to say about that.
Okay. Road foreman.
I don't have a report, but when you're ready, I have information about grant funding.
AOT structures.
Yes, so I received an email today from Patrick Wilson, who is with the Vermont Agency of Transportation, and so we had applied for that structures grant for 153, and we were denied because there wasn't enough funding. But he wrote to me today saying that there was a transportation bill that was recently passed by the legislature, and because of that, he has received some additional funding for the town highway grant programs and wanted to see if Pawlet would be willing to accept a lesser amount than what was originally applied for. He's been allotted an additional $100,000 approximately for the structures program and can adjust the original grant application to reflect that amount and execute it if the town approves. If the town would like to proceed with this, they will be reimbursed for up to $100,000, which is 90%, and would be required to produce the $11,111, which is the 10% match portion. Let me know what you decide. I have no intentions of allocating the funds elsewhere at this time, so you don't need to get back to me by the end of the day or anything, but after the next board meeting would be good. So,
If we do $100,000 worth of work and don't complete that project, do we have to show the project completed, or do you know, or?
I wouldn't think so if they're gonna limit us
well,
like that,
I mean, $100,000 will get a good start on it.
especially if we do it in-house as much
Right.
as we can.
We
Yeah,
could even get the,
I think we just have to spend $100,000. If we require more funding to be able to complete the project, I think that's okay. We just have to spend at least the 100,000 to be able to meet the criteria, I believe. I would have to double check the application, but I think that's usually how they work.
There's also a concern that if we were to receive money from another grant or anything, if that would interfere with that 100,000, so it's a concern that if we were to receive any other grants along with that,
Where did you hear that concern?
Keith, today.
So that's,
He just wants to make sure that that's not the case, that
Do
it
we
won't.
have any other grant applications out for this project?
no.
Not currently. There's one, there was another, I think it's maybe FEMA, that Keith found that he thought this project might fit the bill, but there was a letter of intent that's due for it, but the application I think wasn't due until October. So currently we're not committed to anything else, but I mean, it's a valid concern. It's definitely something we could ask Patrick about.
But he just doesn't want it to bite us down the road if we receive other grant money and they
Now, does this
that.
money require some engineering or just,
This is for, you would maybe know better than I, because this is for the application that I think you and Keith kind of filled out.
and I can touch base with Keith and Patrick as well and find out if, like, they're gonna just allow us to fill that in on our own, or if they're gonna wanna design and engineer some,
Yeah.
design to start filling that back in.
I don't know. So we can ask him. I mean, I think, I wrote him back immediately and just said, thanks a lot, and we conveniently had a meeting tonight, and it sounded good, and we would definitely be back in touch. So I can I could send him all those questions and make sure. But it might be good, just since we won't be meeting again for another 2 weeks, might be good to get some sort of a feel for what we'd like to do, so that he doesn't, scooch down the list to somebody else that might be interested. Because I think we had applied for 130?
100,000.
Oh, it was 200,000. So
that was the thing, that if we can get it to do part of it and then try and find some other money to do for it.
Yeah.
And like Bob says, with the grants, it's kind of iffy, like, I know all those other grants, we have to make sure that the road is is finished and everything is all pretty and nice before they give us our money. And $100,000 probably we're not gonna make that all pretty and nice and be complete. So,
I'll write this down and ask him.
Harley?
With a revised funding amount, isn't he asking for a revised scope of work?
No, the scope of work has to remain the same, basically, to
I
get,
know the funding changed by.
well, that's what he's saying is that's all the money he can get us.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
But the response to it just would be, well, here's what we can do with that money.
With that, right.
A revised scope.
But unfortunately, some of the grants and the applications and stuff like that, I don't know, I guess some of them like to be the hero and it's all or nothing, so to speak, and you know, they have everything all spelled out in a perfect world scenario, and it doesn't always work that way.
Or they'll pay upon completion
Yeah.
of the project.
Like all the ones we've done, all the bridges and stuff and culverts, everything has to be done, the banks all have to be seeded and stuff like that, which is good to make sure the job is complete, but they also award enough money to do the complete job. So now that we know it's not gonna be enough, can we get this grant, do what we can do, and then find another grant to complete it? Or are they gonna say, no, you get this much money toward the completion and you gotta pick up the rest? That's what I'm curious about. So maybe somebody can talk to Patrick about that and see if we can end up in a good spot with that kind of money, or if we need to hold out to try and hope for more, because this may be detrimental to other options.
I mean, if we could get this 100,000 and they don't require us to complete with that money, it would come earlier than any money that we might put in a grant for in October, and then we could get started on it, which would be good. I mean, that's for the road on the 153, right?
Between the quarries where it's
and
sliding in.
that's an increasingly important thing to get done, so yeah, that's my thought.
So I will ask him, and in the event that we get every perfect answer, does the board want to do anything with that? Or do you want to see if we can wait for 2 weeks to make another decision, or?
I think that it seems to me like if we get all the answers that we need, it would be wise. I mean, Rich, if you're heading, if you could just run it over with me, just because I'd like to know. And, you know, we could talk to Jessica or John or somebody too, and just get a quorum of us that we could just decide, yeah, go ahead and apply for it. But I mean, I guess we have it, right? He'll say he'll give it to us it's there for, if we just want it, we could take it.
And this is a grant that we already decided on as a board to apply for, right? So, I mean, in a way, the decision to apply at least has already been made. I guess it's just the decision to accept that we'd have to make. But it sounds
So I'm
like
sure that
if there aren't any strings attached and we can just use the money, it sounds like we do. I get the sense that we want to accept it.
I would
If
think
there's no
that,
problems.
right, that would be awesome if we could get, you know, at least get a good start on it. The more we can get at the base, the less it's gonna be squeezing out. Every bit that we fill up is gonna slow that whole process a great deal, so. Yeah, and if we just tell them we want it, we probably wouldn't have to sign the paperwork till the next meeting anyways.
Well, yeah, it seemed like from that message, he would just make all the necessary adjustments to the application, and there probably wouldn't be much more paperwork involved, because I think it would just be a matter of shifting the number amounts on the application, so.
All right, does that all sound good with everybody? John, are you okay with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. All right, anything else from the road crew?
So they've been working on preparing Kelly Hill Road. They've got a bunch of trees cut. Johnny Haynes came and spent a day cutting a bunch of the big ones. They got some culverts in, and they're pretty close to road's close to being ready. I was gonna talk with him about, getting the roadside mower out and about,
Yeah.
because we're not gonna start that Kelly Hill project until the second week of July, so they've got some time to,
Right.
for some other projects.
Now they'll switch back to the flail head, or
No, they'll continue to use the one that's on there.
they're gonna use the, okay. So the flail head is probably something we're not gonna use that much then, or?
Right.
Okay.
They just happen to come with the machine, so
Okay.
we've got it if we need it.
Even though it's a balance out, it does a nicer job on the roadsides, but
I'm not sure that it will.
you're not even sold on that, yeah?
Yeah, the knives on that flail are pretty blocky. I think you'll see that this other one will do a much
They're more
nicer
like
job.
hammerheads than
Yeah,
knives.
they're like hammers.
So they don't have the right knives to do,
They have the right knives for brush and limbs
Right.
and.
but not for
grass.
pretty mowing.
Right, they knock it down as
Yeah,
opposed to.
understood. So we'll be just as far ahead with the,
Yeah, I think so.
what is that, a 5-foot rotary mower?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And they'll try and do just like Dave did, 2 passes,
Mhm.
but they'll do a little bit harder because that mower's a little bit tougher, and it's,
And we can, continue to work it back as we go as well.
Yeah. that's already a huge improvement, so excellent. Everything else is okay, the truck's all set again, radiator's all fixed and stuff.
Ralph's done a good job for us in that department.
Who did?
Young Ralph Sheldon,
Oh, Ralph did that? Okay,
did an oil pan on one of them as well,
okay.
so.
Well, that's perfect. Yeah, I'd forgotten that he went out on his own this year. That's a perfect guy for that, huh? Okay, so we're good with that. Assessor's report? Karen has something I saw?
Yep. So the extension request for Grand List lodging has been granted. The tentative date we plan to lodge the Grand List abstract is June 13th, and we are tentatively scheduling grievances on July 11th. Karen will not be in the office on June 1st, 22nd, and 29th. She will be in the office on June 2nd, 23rd, and 30th. We continue to have issues with our CAMA software, which is the ProVal Computer Assisted Mass Appraisal software. The latest update has caused problems regarding administrative access because of the firewall on the server. We have had help with this remotely and through our IT person. However, all the issues have not yet been resolved. Lisa will continue to work remotely from home, and Karen will continue to be in the office on Mondays and Wednesdays and as necessary to keep current with office work.
Town clerk?
All right, so Mark Fitzgerald was at the meeting this evening. There's a service request from Elaine Ross, who is renewing her concerns about lack of cell service in our area. It became an issue recently when VTEL landline service went down. She's wondering if there's anything in the works that the board is aware of, and that she filled out one of these forms, and her location is the Solar Park area. There's one uniform municipal excess weight permit that needs signature. 2 candidates submitted candidate petitions last week for the Rutland-Bennington State Representative. Reminder that tomorrow our new tabulator will be delivered and demonstrated if any of you are interested. The town clerk's office will be closed next Tuesday, June 7th, and have a good evening. Respectfully submitted, Deb.
I think, Bobby, you can comment more on it, but we're doing as much as we can by being part of the CUD to try and...
Yeah, that is more for broadband rather than for cell service.
Oh, okay.
I can do, when we first got a request about this last year, I did a little research into cell service, and it did look like there might have been there had been a state study that had been done about cell service, which clearly showed that half of our town doesn't have cell service. I sent in an email to those folks to see if there were any grants available and didn't hear anything back. But I can look into it again and see if, now that there's all this transportation money come into the state, there might be some more options eventually they have to put up some kind of cell service in our area because it's just stupid that we don't have it, honestly. But let me make a note to check into that again.
Great, thank you. Did you get the excess weight permit? Okay. And so we're good with that then, huh? Did you have a memo?
I do.
Nice.
Just 2 warrants to be signed. The payroll warrant of 22070 for $10,041.42. Accounts payable 22071 for $18,946.02. Of those, general fund monies were $13,025.35. $15,864.34 to the highway, and wastewater was $97.75. And then the only other things I wanted to say was just the IT person will be here again for Karen on Friday, and also for my office as well, because all of my Microsoft Office programs are not working. Hence the handwritten memo. Yeah, they just stopped working midday. Friendly reminder, second friendly reminder, 1 more to come. Final wastewater payment due 6/10, which is a Friday. After Friday 6/10, any unpaid wastewater bills will go delinquent, subject to penalty and interest. That's it.
Somebody like to make a motion?
Sure, I will. I will move that we approve the payroll warrant 22070 and the accounts payable warrant 22071.
I will second that.
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you. Is that right? Are you making headway with the Microsoft programs and stuff like that, or?
But it just happened today, and I called
Oh, okay.
Vinny, and he's already gonna be here on Friday, so,
Okay.
I mean, most of what I need to do tomorrow is through NEMRIC, and that's been working. It's just like I couldn't get into Word to type up, and the things that I could take some stuff home and work in Excel on my own computer. And that's what I did this afternoon.
But he's got a couple other issues to deal with too,
So
so
he'll
he,
be here anyways.
okay, so he'll be here to deal with it. Okay, good. Frank?
There's a program used by hundreds of millions of people, a lot of governments in Germany. It's called LibreOffice, and it's the same as Microsoft Office. Use those formats, and it has a spreadsheet, it's word processor, all that stuff. And you can open up Microsoft documents with it and save in Microsoft documents. And it doesn't cost a thing. It's free.
Another option. Thank you.
LibreOffice.
Emergency management?
Nothing this week.
Health officer?
Also nothing.
Also nothing. Well, that's good. Wastewater? You'll have some?
I'm not sure.
I think she had something at the last meeting. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
There was definitely something at the last meeting.
I think that was,
I'm not seeing
that was
anything.
it. The last meeting was last we heard from her.
Yeah. Yep. I believe that is correct.
Okay. Facilities report. Town hall?
I don't have any update on it.
Bob? Nothing.
I haven't heard that.
Okay. Library. Little free
So-
library?
Did you see, okay, so there was an email that came through from Lindsay. Okay, so the email read that the Pawlet Public Library would like to request that the select board approve the installation of a small structure to be permanently placed in the garden bed next to the drop box. We would like to start a new program that models the Little Free Library with DVDs. The structure, which would hold DVDs, is approximately 14.5 inches by 16 inches by 17.5 inches with a 2-foot 4x4 post. It will be funded by donation and/or the library's budget. Can you please add this to your agenda for the next select board meeting? I do not need an audience with the board, just a vote would be fine. And there's an example. Well, do you all know what a Little Free Library is?
I've seen these structures in other towns and
Yeah,
cities.
it's just like usually they're pretty cute. It's like a cute little house looking structure.
It's like give a book, take a book kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
People can put like books that they want to share and then usually.
Yeah.
And then other people can come and can take them.
yeah.
themselves.
But it seems like this one will be focused on DVDs.
Okay, and that is not attached to the building, so it's free reign.
Right.
So,
It shouldn't be a problem with the Historical Society then, so.
but as long as it's not attached to the building, we don't have to get permission. So. Everybody okay with that, or? Somebody, you wanna make a motion?
Seems like a fine idea to me.
Okay. I will second it. All in favor of allowing the Little Free Library? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried. Okay. One more project for the town crew. We were cruising around West Pawlet last week. The old store foundation the wood is falling in, so that's bad news. And I think once we talked about kind of just pulling that wood out and dumping some sand in there, so it didn't wreck it just so it. Could you
Okay.
look
Yeah.
that over with the guys and see what we can do, because it looks like it's a recipe for.
Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Yeah, and that must
And
have
it's a-
happened over the winter, because when that inspector was there looking for the brownfield study last fall, it wasn't falling in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fully exposed like that, it doesn't take long to rot.
Yeah,
back.
exactly.
Question,
Yes.
is that town-owned property that?
Yes. Yeah, when it went up for tax sale, we ended up buying it and kept it because there is a possibility that we may need to do something different in like a sludge holding tank in the sewage treatment plant. And the footprint is so tiny, we didn't have any room to go, so we felt it was important to keep that extra space in case we had to do anything to improve the sewage treatment plant. So that's kind of why we're hanging on to it. Pedestrian scoping study letter.
All right, so, I sent out an email earlier today so Devin Neary asked us for a bunch of letters of support for the grant that we've decided to apply for, the V-Trans Bicycle and Pedestrian Grant for the sidewalks and crosswalks. And I went ahead and was able to get a letter of support from the church and one from the library. Kristen is going to write one from a resident. And this is the one that I wrote for the select board. We can, if there's anything we want to change, we can. Otherwise, Mike can sign it, basically.
I read most of it today.
Yeah. I mean, we already decided to apply for the grant, so I don't think we need to make any kind of motion to write the letter. It's just, then I can scan it and get it back to Devin. He needs it by June 1st, which is tomorrow.
You said library and church have already sent?
Yeah, the library and the church board of trustees have already sent letters of support.
Everybody good with that? John, are you good with that letter?
Yes, I am.
Thank you. go.
Get
Thank
that
you.
scanned and back to Deb. Thanks, everyone.
Okay, new business.
So, Frank Woodruff, just gotta pull up his email. So, okay. Frank Woodruff wrote to the Pawlet Select Board, I am writing in reference to mowing the North Pawlet Cemetery. I have been mowing this cemetery for years for $60 each time. I am requesting an increase to $75 per mow because of the rise in cost for gas and parts. Thank you, Frank Woodruff.
He talked to me about it the other day and said it's really takes quite a while to get all that done out there, and I'm afraid that there's no way we'd ever get it done, and even $75 is a pretty very inexpensive. I don't know if anybody's ever even gone out there. Are you familiar with where the cemetery is?
No.
He lives just on the top of the hill past the health center, and it's out behind his house. He lives in the very next house.
Okay.
And there's an old cemetery just right out behind his house that he's probably been mowing that for 20 or more years or so.
Yeah, he probably hasn't asked for a raise in 20
Right,
years.
no. So I think it's money well spent.
It makes sense.
I make a motion that we
I'll make
Give him a raise.
motion. I'll make that motion.
have a second.
I'll second that.
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Jessica?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Carried.
Do you need to, do you write those checks?
I write the check.
Okay. So
Oh,
you,
like once a year or something, right?
Yeah, he goes once a year,
oh,
maybe
nice.
twice a year, but very.
Is there anything else under new business?
I don't think so.
We're good?
I think so. So I guess I just want to follow up on the town, like the town hall improvements. Do you want me to put that on the agenda for next time? I know that the discussions on that was supposed to be for the window in Julie's office, the rotting deck boards and the front door weatherization stuff. I don't remember whose
I don't know that
court
anybody,
that ball was in last
I don't
time.
know.
I think John had the list of
Okay.
those things, but I know that,
Okay,
yeah.
so. I
yeah, we'll
wanna make
just,
sure that
we'll
doesn't
see where
fall
we
off.
get,
Okay.
see if we can get some ideas on who might be able to do these kind of things. Do you got any ideas on even who we could get to do it?
I mean, you're gonna, are we gonna make like a custom door, or are we gonna like fix that door? I don't,
We need somebody that's a skilled craftsman to look at it, not somebody that can just tack some weather strip on it, you know?
right.
So I guess we gotta think about who's available to really evaluate it and give us an honest opinion and be able to do it, you know?
And we need someone who's insured.
So,
Do you wanna throw something on Front Porch Forum and see if anyone bites?
I didn't quite catch all that.
Would you be willing to put like an ad out on Front Porch Forum? I mean, it's zero cost to us to just throw that out there, looking for a licensed carpenter for some town hall improvements in Pawlet.
People frequently post things like that there.
Yes.
Do
I
we
don't
have
really-
do we have a Town of Pawlet Front Porch Forum account?
Oh, but maybe we should.
I'll ask Sean.
Yeah, because we probably should. I mean, I have a select board one and I post notices of, I have a planning commission one and I post planning commission notices there, but I don't think anyone on the select board or the town of Pawlet has an account.
Seems like something that would be, I'll ask him.
Yeah, Yeah, that would be good to ask him.
Anything else? Nothing. Is there any public comment?
One thing, when they had the meeting of the select board and the thing on the corner and all that stuff, and the guy was putting on a presentation, whoever was on Zoom couldn't see it, couldn't follow along with it. So I don't know if we need one of those screens that, because like if John were coming in by Zoom, and you wouldn't be able to participate in the meeting fully without being able to see what the presentation was. It might need to talk to your computer guy or somebody to figure that out.
May I reply to Frank? It's a good point. That was projected. Like that whole presentation was on this wall as if there were a screen there. And the owl will only pick up who's speaking. So that might be, I think still a screen would be valuable. I'm not putting that idea down at all. I just think that I don't know that that's going to improve the Zoom experience. Because the owl just detects who's speaking, not...
Right.
Unless the person speaking is standing right in front of the screen.
The last time, or several times, I think you've even done it, you share the screens with people and they put up what they want to show you.
You can, yeah. So if the presenter was able to, at the same time they projected, to also be logged into Zoom and sharing their screen,
Okay.
then the people at home could see it as well. That would be an extra level of IT.
Yeah.
But it would be possible.
Okay.
But several people have done it.
Yes.
Through the course of this, and I don't think trying to get it off the wall isn't the trick. I think that the presenter needs to be informed maybe in advance that he's gonna
send
need
it.
to log into Zoom.
Or the presenter needs to send the presentation to me
And
first,
share
and
the
then I
screen.
need to share the screen to Zoom.
Right.
And so then I would, yeah.
So they send the presentation to you, you share the screen by Zoom, but how does the people in the audience then see it?
Well,
They
they would
would-
still present it as normally
Yeah.
on the wall. And at the same
Oh,
time,
so
they
would be-
pointed it at
would
the
be on
wall.
two computers
Yeah.
and,
I
because she
just
had
need
it
to
on
have
her
my-
own computer that
Yeah.
meeting.
I would just need to have my act together enough to keep the presentation jiving with the same.
Julie?
I think that the second option is a better one, because in order for someone to share their screen, I believe you have to enable them with some a co-hosting capability, which may not be the most cyber safe thing to do.
That's a good
Seems
point.
like a good plan.
Yeah, so I think, yeah, that's a good point. So if people are doing presentations, I just need to make sure they get it to me first.
Perfect. But it probably is something that would be a good idea to talk to someone about, putting a screen up there so you could see, the Zoom audience could see who's there and such.
Screens I've seen them used in different offices before too, and like, if the town clerk or the treasurer or whomever had updates or virtual things, things could be kind of projected and streaming on that screen. It could kind of serve as like a digital bulletin board almost. So
Yeah, the doctor's office does
yeah,
that.
I've seen them around. So it could be used for more than just meetings.
Which is quite a lot. But it's not, I mean, at work they use a whole bunch of 54-inch LED or whatever, thin TVs just stuck on the wall everywhere.
Yeah.
With all kinds of different programs on them, show production and stuff like that, or they have meetings, conferences and stuff.
Yeah.
It would be paid for out of the grant thing that they already have, same as the
But
owl.
it's just the fact of getting someone to set the screen up in a computer to be friends with everything.
If you get one of those big screens and have wheels on the bottom.
No, just a TV mounted on the wall.
Yeah, could do that.
A big TV mounted on the wall that you could, and have another base computer hooked to. Do you think you'll be talking to Vince when he comes, or?
I am not gonna be here when
Okay.
he's here.
Okay. Didn't know if somebody could check with him. Maybe we'll try and connect with him and see if that's something that he he's into, or if we have to go to a different avenue to find that.
If you had it on wheels, you could pack it and take it over to the school if you were gonna do a town meeting over there and head that.
No, we're keeping it here.
Sounds like
Anything else for public comment tonight? All right, we're gonna enter into executive session, and then we're gonna adjourn when we come out. Thank you all for coming. I'll make the motion. Bob
I'll
does.
make the motion, we go into executive session.
I'll second the motion.
Is Meryl joined yet or not? Not yet.
And the intention, just for the record, to go into executive session is to discuss confidential attorney-client communications made for the purpose of providing professional legal services to the board.
While we're waiting on Mara, I'm gonna go scan this.
Pause.
Oh, no, there's little pumps out there. No, where's mine?
All in favor? John?
Yes.
Rich?
Yes.
Jessica? Bob?
Yes.
Motion carried.